Yo, Mana Squad, if you like any of the cards you see in today's video, make sure to hit up the affiliate link down below to TCG Player. You can help look up some of your local game stores in the process and help show the channel some love. And you know you got to look good while you play in order to play good. So make sure you hit up our link to Into the AM as well. We have the discount code down in the description below. Look, you got to listen to Kenneth the Heathen, and he always says something about dripping in space and screaming. We don't know what it means, but do what the man says. And last but not least, hit up Heavy Play. Heavy Play is going to have some of the nicest playmats and deck boxes out there. Their magnet system between their deck box and dice trays and playmat is amazing, especially if you're playing at like bars, restaurants, stuff like that. You got to get up and move. There is no better way to keep all your stuff together, and you can show the channel some love in the process. Stay petty.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Command Center, where we like to put our favorite commander, maybe even yours, front and center. And you know we can't do it unless we play those three terrifying letters, EDH. What does it stand for today, Hado Ken?
Y'all know what it stands for. It stands for Eliminating Disapproval Hubris. That's right. I saw some of the cards that came off this ban list, and you know what? It should have been some more. All right. My thing is free the beast, release the monster, unleash the Kraken, take off the underwear. You know what we talking about. You know what we came here for. Actually, I don't even know at this point. What are we doing?
Release the Kraken. I remember when I was in college, I had a friend specifically that like didn't even like rum, but wanted to like power his way through a bottle of Kraken just because the bottle looked cool and just wanted to yell, release the Kraken. Honestly, it would be a great water bottle. Get it like a Kraken bottle, put some water in it, and just yell, release the Kraken while you hydrate yourself throughout the day. Today, we're talking about banned and unbanned cards. There were I was going to say a bunch. There were 5 cards unbanned. There were a whole bunch of cards added to the Game Changers list. There were some cards removed from the Game Changers list. We're still in the beta version of this bracket system, but there's a lot of updates happening. And the updates now we have for right now are actually going to carry through at least through the end of the year. So this is kind of what we'll be settling in for a good little chunk of time. So we want to take some time and yell at a camera to tell y'all what we think about it. Have y'all had some time to check these out? See all the bans, unbans, brackets, points, all the things in between?
I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. I did not care one bit. I think I looked at the list for briefly 10 seconds. I didn't see the cards that I wanted to see, so I was like, okay, suck my butt. But anyway, just to hop on that story that you had before, we used to have this thing at college where we used to go by the local Krispy Kreme at QT, and it's like used to be like 3:00 in the morning, and it used to be this thing where like release the crackhead, and you just see a bunch of like drugged out people just running down the street. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
Memories. Yeah, so the 90s,
good old days.
The 90s was wild. So anyway,
Crazy time.
That wasn't the 90s, that was like late 2010s.
You said that was 2 weeks ago. So
I was trying to give you an alibi, trying to give you an out.
Trying to give you a pass.
All right.
So one thing I did want to touch real quick, Seb, if anybody's looking at like dates, you're like, yo, why this happened 3 weeks ago? Why are y'all talking about it now? Because we're not in any rush. Commander is a format of lazy rivers, and we don't need to be. Look, we saw. I think Ken, you said it best. People were running through the streets. Was like peeing everywhere?
Yeah. Being peed on by dogs and eating trash off clothes. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, Derek's not really telling the truth of why we waited so long to talk about this. We just wanted the internet to die down and for you guys to shut the hell up. That's why, okay? Because we don't care. Well, I had a job and I had to pay rent. That's why they hop on the internet and I hop Skippy in the Flash to talk about, the cardboard that got released. Give me a straw so
I love how I got that backwards. That the people were peeing on the dogs and not the other way around. I completely flipped it. Oh no! All right, Seth, I'll throw it back to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was expecting to see a bit more fanfare coming from these unbans. It was mostly crickets. People were pleased. People were not passed out in streets as we were alluding to. But I think that overall they're not going to upset the format, which is what I'm happy about. And I think what everyone else is mostly happy about.
Agreed. So let's just jump into these bans. We kind of have a few things we want to touch on today regarding bans, unbans, game changers, all that. So the 5 cards unbanned were Gifts Ungiven, Sway of the Stars, Braids Cabal Minion, Coalition Victory, and Panoptic Mirror. And since there's only 5 of these, let's just jump in all of these real quick, kind of talk about them, see how we feel. It's not an extensive unban list, which might be a surprise. And we'll get into that in a second, but some people were thinking they might just be freeing everything and just every monster from Commander's Pass was going to be running free. But it was pretty contained, they were pretty conservative with it. And look, if you've watched our videos, you know we are very happy about that. There were some monsters that did not need to be let free from Commander's Pass. So
I would say
let's start with gifts on. Yeah, sorry.
I would say 2/3 of us were happy that the monsters were not released.
Ken's like, those are my friends.
Exactly. You know, free my people.
All right, so let's start with gifts ungiven. This is the first one. It's a 3 and a blue for an instant. Search your library for up to 4 cards with different names. Reveal them. Target opponent chooses 2 of the cards. Put the chosen cards in your graveyard. Put the rest in your hand, then shuffle. It's like a weird fact or fiction type effect. It's very similar to Intuition, which is a non-banned card in Commander. So, I mean, yes, I'm sure this is going to be crazy powerful in CDH. In your very high power level groups, this is probably, if this resolves, the game is just going to end. Do y'all have any strong feelings about this coming off?
I gotta be honest. I didn't even know Intuition was a card, so I would have never known this card was on the ban list. Yeah, I see some cool things that could be possibly done with it. It could be a game ender, so possibly a game changer. So I'm for it. Probably shouldn't have been on the list anyway, but you know, whatever.
I don't care about this card. I really don't. It never entered my mind. I've never played against it. I've never seen it. I don't even know it exists. It's like
I like the art.
It's like sure, why not? It's like a cart. It's like a cartwheeling ostrich. You can tell me it's out there, but I don't believe you.
I mean, in less eloquent words, I agree. Yeah, it's just like if we're a play group that really doesn't play a lot of tutors or don't find tutors fun. So if you didn't all of a sudden say, here's 4 tutors in one, okay, I want to play it even less. So it's like, I'm sure to the like spikier play groups, this is going to be super exciting and super appealing. But I feel like, yeah, it's just there. I'm never going to put it in a deck. I don't think I don't think we're going to see, well, maybe, I don't know. We play with some people that like to cause pain and suffering, so maybe we will see it a bit, but it just seems too similar to other effects. I don't find it affecting like casual games too much. Sway of the Stars is the next one. This one's weird. It's 8 blue, so 10 mana for a sorcery. Each player shuffles his or her hand, graveyard, and permanents they control into their library, then draw 7 cards. Each player's life total becomes 7. Effectively, it's a full game restart. You reshuffle everything, draw a fresh 7, lives at 7, go. For 10 mana. I don't know why this card was banned. That's a great, I genuinely do not know why this card was banned. Do y'all, yeah, I feel like there's a vibe or a theme to this unbans. Do y'all have any strong feelings about this?
It stated its claim, it made its case, and it was heard. And now it's a free card.
Well, the thing is, the Innocent Project got a hold of this card. They realized that it got locked up for cruel and unusual punishment. Honestly, and I think we're looking at this from the perspective of, you know, people who play fair Magic. I mean, we can't understand the deviancy out there, like people, you know, who play CDH, you know, people who season their meat by throwing it in a trash can. But, you know, I guess why we can't understand the totality of how dangerous these cards are. It's like we're kids and we don't know, hey, that bus, we might need to look out for it as we cross the street. Speaking of which, why is my lighting so weird?
There's an otherworldly aura to your
stream, it's like a haze over here, like Snoop Dogg is breaking into my house. It's like I don't know what this is.
I thought you were just doing this behind a plexiglass the entire time.
It looks how a Post Malone album smells. You know what? Don't throw that. To get rid of that one.
We're keeping it in. All right, so Sway of the Stars. Yeah. The thing is, like, there's a lot of these similar type effects. Worldfire was one that got unbanned recently that really just screwed the game up, where it's like, okay, lose all your permanents, lose your hand, start the game over, haha, chaos. And those are my least favorite effects ever. At least with this, like, you're you're starting with a fresh 7. You're starting at 7 life with a fresh 7, so you have the benefit of like you're going to be able to play lands. You're basically starting a game over and just saying, bam, bam, aggro player is going to have a better chance to win. And this card's in blue, which is strange because that's not aggressive colors. So I'm sure there's more annoying ways to use it. But I see it as like, look, this game, there's just like too much clog on the board. Nothing's happening. Nothing's progressing. We're going to sit here for 4 hours. You know what? Let's just shuffle up and restart at 7 life and just get the hell out of here and pick new decks. Like that's, I mean, Seth, we played a game recently where we got to the end of a game and you were in position to win, but you were so fed up with how long the game had gone on and you were like, I want to play a different deck. Screw it. I concede. Just get this over with. Let's do something else. This is the ultimate card for that. Of this, there's 70 creatures on everyone's board. No one's drawn a board wipe. Let's just start over.
It's Shahrazad with extra steps.
With fewer steps.
Actually, Shahrazad with fewer steps. Yeah. But yes, that's a great comparison, though.
All right, what's next?
Not going to be problematic. Next one's Braid's Cabal Minion. Braids is 2 black for a 2/2. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices an artifact, a creature, or a land. The Boogie Braids is back.
Yeah, so I had a brief experience with Boogie Braids back in the day. It was definitely hell to fight against. Even in the 99, it would come out of games super early, and people would be like, well, there goes the game. There goes the neighborhood. So I'm surprised to actually see it back. I don't think it's, it is annoying if you're playing like that type of Braids deck, then of course, but I don't see it being that much of a problem. Because I think it was in the format for a little bit, just banned not as a commander. Being banned as a commander, so it was still could be in a format for a little bit, I think. But yeah, it's back. If you see Braids, you know what time it is.
Yeah, no, for sure. Ken, did you have much experience against Braids?
No, I've never.
It was banned by the time he got in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's in later news, Walmart is coming up with edible toilet paper. I say that to say I don't care. I don't care about this card.
Changer.
I don't care about this card. The cards that I wanted unbanned are not unbanned. This is stupid. This is literally a Band-Aid on a knife wound with a missile launcher in it and pea stains.
Ken's reaction tells me they did a good job at keeping the monsters put away. My thing on Braids, and they mentioned it in the article, but I kind of agree that it just gives me such strong Turgid vibes in the sense of you know exactly what you're signing up for when you see it. So like, if you see no one is going to sit there and try to claim this is a fun Braids deck. Like no, we know your entire purpose is to make our lives miserable. Meaning, if you want to sign up for that type of game and that's fun for you, awesome. You'll know it at the start. But it's impossible to sit down and tell someone there's a fun Braids deck or fun like a whatever it is. So like. Yeah, no one can say it isn't that type of Braids deck. No, that is exactly what it is.
There's no group hug Braids deck, I think.
Yeah. So I don't think you need to protect people from it because people already know what it is. And I do think in the 99, there's so many effects similar to this, I would say, that adding another once a turn edict in the 99 isn't a game changer. I guess it is a game changer in that sense, but not in like for the phrase. So yeah, I don't think it's a problem to unban, but at the same time, if someone pulls this out as their commander, I'm going to excuse myself and just say like, yeah, I'm good. Y'all do whatever you were about to do with each other. I'm gonna go find a different game to play, which I guess is like the purpose of it. Like that, you know what you're getting into.
Or you can play one of the many effects that says target opponent can't make you sack stuff. How about we do that? How about we just do that? How about we run that? Can we do that?
You can, but if Turbo Braids comes out and you never get a land to stick, then all goes.
All right, so the next one, you run interaction to get rid of it.
Yes, but I mean,
he never experienced Braids. He doesn't understand.
Yeah, that gets down to the crux of Braids, where in the days of Braids, it effectively came down to everyone would just have to mulligan to get interaction opening hand, because as soon as it stuck, if you Turbo Braids out, you couldn't then keep lands in play enough to play interaction. So that's where it got down to, was the deck would not let people even get to a point of being able to interact, which is why it became so miserable. Because it's like, at least Turgid in some cases, it's turn 3 or 4. You might have a better hope. When it's a 4-drop, in black with things like Dark Ritual, a whole nightmare. So yeah, it's a blah, blah. I think that's even the name. Braids. Oh no, Cabal Minion. I thought Arisen Nightmare is the other braids.
I've never experienced.
Right, so let's get to the.
I've never experienced turbo diarrhea, but I know how to deal with it if it ever happens.
You say this.
Yeah. Bold words.
You say this now.
We'll see. We'll see.
You want to put money on it?
Yeah. How much you want to bet?
Let's break out the socks in case of emergency. I had a camping trip.
I want to see how creative you get.
I had a camping trip that ended up like that one time. I was like, these socks are gone. those socks stayed in those woods. I was on the side of the highway and I had to make difficult decisions. I came home with 2 less socks and a half of a t-shirt. You okay, Derek?
How big are your socks? I'm trying to picture how that's how big.
I think you're picturing the wrong thing. Don't worry about it.
I'm telling you, man, it was a rough time.
I'm going to Coalition Victory. The next one.
Hold on, intro that one.
Coalition Victory.
I had a colon victory that day. Keep going.
I'm sure it was also rainbow colors.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was also part of the. All right, so Coalition Victory is 3 and the whole rainbow. Wooburg. For a sorcery, it's an 8-mana sorcery that says you win the game if you control a land of each basic land type and a creature of each color, which means in Commander, you have a 5-color commander, 2 triomes, or any variation of millions of things that make every land, every basic land type in play, and you just win the game if this is cast. Woo. Yeah, what do y'all... I feel like this is one of the least exciting cards to ever exist. So I'm curious what y'all think.
I find it funny that they unbanned this when Leyline of the Guild Pack literally just came out. And I'm sitting there like, you unbanned this card because you think it's a problem. But Leyline of the Guild Pack literally just came out not too long ago. And if you guys don't know what Leyline of the Guild Pack is, it says each non-land permanent you control is all colors. And lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. It's insane.
Yeah. And at least like technically that's like if you were to get that all out at once, I guess it's like a 12 mana combo. So it's like mana intensive. But it's just like, the thing that I find most boring to it is like if you're in a 5-color deck, this can just go in and it's just like by accident, if you cast it, you just win. Because every 5-color deck at this point probably has, you can run triomes.
Avatar.
Even if you're on a budget, they have all the dual type tap lands and stuff like that at this point. So like you're very easily going to get to all the basic land types. Your commander's already all the colors. So it's like, but it's also like easy to interact with. When you mentioned interaction, if they cast this and you remove one of the land types, you remove the commander, you remove the ley line, any of that, the spell just fizzles and they just wasted 8 mana. But to me, it just fits in the weird spot where it's like it's way too weak to see play at high power tables. The interaction at high power tables is going to make this irrelevant for 8 mana.
Well,
but at like low power tables, I guess it won't be because it's a game changer. But if someone were to try to sneak this into a low power table, then it's like you don't have the interaction. It's the most like anticlimactic end to a commander game. So my mindset is like, I just don't know where this fits. I think it's going to be one that like doesn't see play. People are going to do it once, be like, oh, look what I just did. And then be like, well, that was very boring. I'm never going to do that again. I just think it's just going to kind of go into obscurity basically.
Yeah, I think like Derek said, I think if people cast this, they'll win the game. They'll get the victory. They probably won't do it again unless it turns into one of those moments where like, all right, this game has gone on long enough. So it comes probably be one of those situational things where people just kind of has the gun in the deck or a gun in their hand and they'll choose when to play it. So choose responsibly.
Yeah, but I also like, I don't think it needed to be banned. Like when you look at the problematic things on the ban list, this does not fit what other monsters are there. I just think it's an annoying thing that'll pop up every once in a while. The last one, I think this is the most exciting one. This is probably the one that can be used the most creatively, but also could be the most miserable. So who knows? Panoptic Mirror. Panoptic Mirror is a 5-drop artifact. It has imprint X and tap it. You may remove an instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost X or mana value X in your hand from the game. It's imprinted. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may copy an imprinted instant or sorcery card and play the copy without paying its mana cost. One thing to point out is no matter how many things you imprint, you pick one on your upkeep. So first, when I first saw this and said, I think you had the same reaction, your mind can go in a million different directions of cool things you can do. What it ended up being for in practice was imprint an extra turn spell before my turn, take infinite turns. Yeah, so how do y'all feel? How do y'all feel about this being available to play now?
Honestly, don't care. Go ahead, say it.
I'm more excited about it because this was one of the first cards that I ever picked up when I first started playing Magic. But I want to do more fun things. Probably more not as like annoying as taking extra turns, but like maybe I want to do fun givens every turn. Maybe I want to polymorph your creatures or chaos warp some creatures every now and then. So that's what I envision myself using the mirror for. There's probably definitely a lot more malicious things that can be done as well that can lock people out of the game or just turn people's experience into not a good one. So
yeah, and my thing is like in brackets 1 through 3 anyway, like if you're playing anything that's not close to competitive, infinite turns is already something that's called out. Like nobody enjoys sitting there watching you play with yourself for 75 turns. So like that's already something that's corrected and kept only to high power games. And if that's not what you're using this for, if you're literally paying 5 mana and then all extra mana to imprint to get something once a turn, that is so inefficient. Even if you're doing something crazy, like what's a spell you cast? Clone Legion. You cast this recently, said, where you get to copy all the creatures on someone's board.
Yes.
So for 9 mana, you imprint that in every turn you're Clone Legion. Look, that is awesome. But you also just spent 14 mana to potentially have it all undone by a Nature's Claim.
So what?
Super fair. It's incredibly powerful. It is fun, but it's delicate, which I think is the perfect place for it to be. Like this card just speaks to me basically saying the only if you're doing extra turns, I don't want to be at that table anyway. Go do that somewhere else. And then everything else you can do with it seems fun and fair. So I think it's a perfect unban candidate in that there's really only one specific way to make it miserable. And everything else is, because it's not instant speed. Like it's not like you can just, it's not like, Isochron Scepter, we can just counter everyone's spells every turn. You get it on your upkeep. So it's like you're casting things at a designated point in time. Like it is an incredibly fair spell outside of the very specific instance where it's not. So I think this is cool. I'm excited to see what kind of like weird stuff people can come up with.
Can I get on soapbox time? I'm gonna be 100% honest. I think a lot of these stuff ended on this ban list because somebody got butt hurt. All right, somebody was playing the game and then they was whooping their ass with this card, and then they was like, I don't want to play Magic anymore. Go get you some Icy Hot or some off-brand butt cream and suck it up, Buttercup.
I think it's just a different time. Like you look at the year most of these cards were banned, there were fewer ways to do some of this stuff. So like, you think back to like OG Commander, being able to spend 10 mana to get infinite turns was broken at the time. Like that was actually something that was like, oh shit, how did that happen? Or like Coalition Victory winning the game for 8 mana. Or like it was like a very different time in Commander when it was much more battle cruiser, a much slower format, and every game was going long. And these were just ways that felt like they were like circumventing the spirit of Commander effectively.
All right, so we're about to get into these game changers.
Game changers.
Game changers. All right.
Okay.
So for those who don't know, the 5 cards that were just unbanned are also making their way onto the game changers list. Derek, you mentioned that a couple cards came off of the game changer list, right?
Yeah, so I'll go over like the summary of it real quick, and then we can get more into like our actual thoughts. So 2 cards came off of the game changers list. Trouble in Pairs, which I think a lot of people had questions when that first went on there. Really powerful card, but I don't think it fits that game changer category. So Trouble in Pairs is off, and Trinisphere is off. Trinisphere, if you're not familiar, is basically if you pay less than 3 mana, you have to pay 3 mana for a spell. It's like a weird stacks piece, but I don't think it belongs in the same realm. They agreed. So the Trouble in Pairs and Trinispheres are off. Now, cards that got added. What we're going to do is I'm going to read this whole list. It's a whole ass list. Give like a brief summary. But more importantly, we're going to get down to cards that like 1 card each that we're very excited to see added to this list. And then 1 card each that we are in shock and trying to figure out how in the world is this a game changer. because otherwise we're going to spend a year going through all these. So for the new cards, we have Teferi's Protection, Humility, Narset Parter of Veils, Intuition, Consecrated Sphinx, Necropotence, Orcish Bowmasters, Notion Thief, Deflecting Swat, Gamble, Worldly Tutor, Crop Rotation, Seedborn Muse, Natural Order, Food Chain, Aura Shards, Field of the Dead, and Mishra's Workshop. And a lot of these, like, it seems like they have like a very set category of game changers where it's like draw hate. If you're like a Narset, Orcish Bowmasters, whatever it is, draw hate's going to be there. Tutors, they put a whole bunch more tutors on there. Extra turn type effects like a Seedborn Muse. And then just OP overpowered Mishra's Workshop, Teferi's Protection, so much better at what they do than anything else. Like, bam. So a lot of these do seem to fit kind of the vibe they were going with previous game changers. But we got to yell at y'all about something. So let's go into first. Let's talk about the single card we're most happy to see on this list out of all the new game changers. So if y'all have one ready, I said you look like you're set. I think you already got one.
Yeah, it was definitely Seedborn Muse. I think I got a taste of this, like a reminder of this during MagicCon Chicago. Megan Infinitokens was playing one of her infamous decks where she was just making copies of things, and then it wasn't even her Seedborn Muse. She stole someone else's Seedborn Muse, and it just elevated her gameplay like ridiculously high. And it was just like, what can we do? We got to get rid of that Muse. It didn't happen. We couldn't do it. But yeah, just the fact that you can just untap and play your turn with other turns at the end of other turns, like, come on, definitely a game changer. Prophet of Crufix is banned for a reason because this is half of it. So yeah, it makes sense for it to be on the game changer list, and I'm glad to see it there.
Ken, what do you got? I hard agree. That would have been my first, second, third, and fourth pick. Seedborn Muse needed to, it needed to go. It got to go. I was not happy that it wasn't there at first.
Honestly, I don't see anything on this list that should be on here. Maybe Necropotent, but outside of that, and Humility, I guess. But there's a couple of things on here I'm looking like, why the hell is this on here?
Just to wrap this part up, I think the only other, as far as I think it stuck out that I was like happiest, like by far, I've mentioned Seedborn Muse had to be there.
Oh yeah.
Teferi's Protection, very happy to see that there. That just felt like it's a step above really other cards that are in that same category, and it feels like it can steal games basically by itself. And I think the only other one that just felt like the OCD in me was happy to see it there was Mishra's Workshop, because it felt like every other incredibly old, expensive, powerful card like that, you got Cradles and all this other stuff on there. It just felt weird that Mishra's Workshop was left off.
Can you
so
explain
that kind of
what
completes
it does?
Yeah, for sure. So if anybody hasn't spent 6 months rent to buy a random Magic card before, Mishra's Workshop is a card, I believe, from Antiquities. It taps to add 3 colorless mana to your mana pool, and you can spend this mana only on artifact spells. This is one most people are never going to see in their lives. It's just not a card that there's many copies of. It's reserve list, Antiquities, crazy expensive. But it is one that's just like, it fits into the category of so much of what was on the OG Game Changers list. So it kind of completes that cycle. So yeah, I could definitely see, I could definitely see that being there, and it made my brain happy seeing it. All right. That's not the fun part, though. Agreeing with things, why would we do that? That's too much positivity and too much, like, goodness. We need to yell and be angry because that's what the internet does. So let's talk about the stuff that we are just shocked to see on the Game Changers list that we're trying to figure out how it got there. Initially, I'm going to say let's pick one each. This may turn into more than one each. We want to see how this is going. So which one of y'all wants to go first and just call one out that you are just in awe that it is now a game changer? And Ken, you can't say all of them.
Damn. Okay. Shit. Okay. I guess I got. Okay. Go. Who wants to start this off?
I'll take it if nobody's ready because I need. I got to. Field of the Dead.
Yep.
Why is So this is when we've talked about it in the past as a group. I've talked about it with. I can't figure out. And please, in the comments, let us know if we're missing an interaction with Field of the Dead that we're just not aware of. But even in landfall decks. Ken, we've talked about this. You have a Windgrace Landfall deck. I had a Titania Landfall deck that was busted for forever that I don't play much anymore. in those decks, when it came to like landfall abilities, Field of the Dead was like 15th on the list of things I wanted to see. Like in a world with landfall where it's so busted, getting a 2/2 zombie, not only do you have to get up to 7 lands, which I get it isn't super hard in Commander, but there's still a restriction there. You have to get to 7 differently named lands. And then for each land to make you a 2/2, there are so many effects that's like landfall create a 1/1, landfall create a 4/4, landfall create all these other giant creatures. And to be on a tap, and especially in like today's Commander, to have a tapped colorless land is an actual cost. Like if you're in a color intensive deck, you need to make a decision. There's tons of decks that I don't put Field of the Dead in because I don't want a land to come into play tapped and not create any of the colors I need, at the upside of on like turn 7 or 8 getting a single 2/2 every turn or 2 2/2s every turn. Like even if you scape shift with this thing, with the amount of setup and everything you need to do, even if you dump 10 zombies onto the battlefield, like you basically just Army of the Damned. And nobody in the world thinks Army of the Damned is some sort of game-changing card. This one just, I get it. Other formats, it's a 4 of. 2/2s are much more impactful in other formats. You get multiples of these. I get it. But I think it's like Field of the Dead sins in other formats caused this. Because I just, unless y'all got something, I don't, this one I don't understand it.
If I scape shift and Splendid Reclamation, trust me, the other landfall abilities I have way outshine the Field of the Dead. Not even close.
Yeah, and that's the part I don't get is like, if you're gonna call out landfall, if there's gonna be some sort of landfall ability to be called out or some sort of card, like I'm not, and don't do this, but like Lotus Cobra, Scoot Swarm.
Right.
Let me say it again, Scoot Swarm. Like Scoot Swarm. I am usually someone who's like throw everything on the game changer list. I want restrictions. This one is weird to me. I can't solve this one. All right, which one do y'all got? I could say this for an hour, so I'm gonna stop. Which one?
I'll go.
Do y'all got?
Gamble did not make sense to me because if you're gonna ban Gamble, you might as well ban Entomb. Like you're literally searching for a card and put it in. Basically, most of the time you do Gamble, there's a high percent chance that the card that you search for is going in your graveyard. If you're gonna ban that, if you're gonna put that on a game changer, Entomb needs to be on here too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Gamble's just worse than Entomb because it's like, at least with Entomb, you know it's going in the graveyard. So if you want it in the graveyard, you can put it there. Or most tutors, like you're discarding a card at random. You don't even know what card you're discarding. It could be anything. I agree. I didn't think I would agree with Ken. I agree on this.
I'm gonna be honest. Teferi's protection. I guess I don't know. Sure, but I think it's an odd one to me only because we play it as like fogs, like like Holy Day or fog, actual fog. We use it to just kind of peace out in those very precious moments where our life is about to get wrecked. I know there are other ways you can combo with Teferi's protection, but or wreck everyone's day and then you peace out before it happens. So I can that's a combo piece to me though. Like you can make that case for a lot of other cards. So that one's just the odd one to me. Like the other ones we just mentioned as well.
Yeah. No, I can't disagree. I mean, like, I think it is very much down to how it's used. I think the problem with Teferis is if someone wants to use it proactively, because it's only 3 mana, if you want to, like, board wipe Teferis, Armageddon Teferis, whatever, devious things you're up to, it does enable a lot of crazy stuff that, like, for 3 mana aren't available elsewhere. But I get how we're saying, like, the way we see it, it's mostly a fog.
But then I mean, Teferi's Veil is a thing. Like, make all your creatures attack and then they phase out at the end of combat and then board wipe. Like that already exists. So I mean, there's probably ways that this is being used maliciously that we just haven't fathomed or haven't. Ken, you know about this? Like, do people in your circles do TP and blow up the board or something? Like, what's going on?
What kind of backwards ass heathens do y'all be playing with? I don't know nobody be doing this. Do you know somebody who pees in gas tanks and put vegetable oils in their oil filter? Like, no. Who are these people?
Yeah. I wouldn't even say these are. I wouldn't even call these CDH people. I don't know who's doing this.
Yeah, they whole goddamn gremlins. They eat food after 12 and then they turn from a mogwai to a gremlin. Huh?
All right, so the last one. Does anybody have? I do have one more I want to yell out.
I got one more
if
too.
nobody else has one.
Crop rotation. I literally think it's on here because it's a tutor. That's the only reason I think it's on here. Outside of that, I don't see why it needs to be on here to go search for a land. Okay, there's other there's other like artifacts that you can crack and literally go get a land, and that's not on this list. But okay, whatever. But honestly, Narset part of Veils. Kiss my ass. Like seriously, that is not a game changer.
I'm gonna skip past that. I will not react. We're gonna go to the only other one that I had that like really confused me that we haven't pointed out yet is Consecrated Sphinx. I was a little. It feels like Consecrated Sphinx. Yes, if it was 2015.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like I don't see Consecrated Sphinx a lot. I just don't. And 2, for 6 mana. It is just it's a removal magnet. Let's say it makes it around 1 round to the table. You get 6 mana, draw 6 cards. Super powerful. I get it. It's great. But at the same time, like it just eats removal. It has no protection. It's a 6 mana creature. It's like I feel like 6+ mana cards should have cool big impacts like that. I'm not angry that it's on the Game Changers list. It's not like a how dare they. It's more of like I kind of don't get it. It feels like it just doesn't feel like if you can put like looking at this list to have Mishra's Workshop and Seedborn Muse and Orcish Bowmasters, Teferi's Protection, and then Consecrated Sphinx. It's like the meme with the the Ghidorah with the 3 dragon heads and one with the googly eyes, and it's like tongue out to the side. I don't know if y'all seen that before, but it's like Consecrated Sphinx is the googly eyes one.
Well, if that's the case, why not put Wedding Ring on this list too? If we're gonna do that.
Yeah, you remember that card that came out back in New Capoeira, New Capena, Bootlegger Stash. We thought it was just gonna be like the game changer of the year, the MVP. Basically 5 in green
Stash saga.
artifact.
Anybody that wasn't around for that, what a time! What a time!
Yeah, 5 in a green artifact. Lands you control have tap, create a treasure token. Like we thought, what were y'all thinking? This is like old Gnawbones, the artifact. So like, I know we don't see Consecrated Sphinx. I get why it's on here because like for newer players, like if you see a Consecrated Sphinx, you should know that person is playing like at a higher level, I suppose. It's the message that we're getting across. So it's just like I guess you get that card advantage, but it's not stopping. It's not stopping anyone else.
Yeah, in a weird way, I feel like Consecrated Sphinx has the opposite effect of like Primetime and Braids, what we were talking about, where it's like Primetime and Braids, you kind of read and you're like, yeah, whatever, that can stick around, and then you don't realize that you lost the game because of it until you've seen it before. Sometimes like Consecrated Sphinx is the opposite, where it's so obvious that it's good. No one is sneaking a Consecrated Sphinx onto the board and be like, it's not a problem. Like it always is very much going to be like the table is going to try to kill it. But it's also like it plays into the kind of the genre of like the Vorinclex, the OG Vorinclex on the Game Changers list, and Jingataxis and all these. When you get to these like super high mana value creatures that have these busted crazy effects, are those game changers or is that just Commander? Like how does that kind of like where does that all fit together? But I don't know. That's why they didn't put us in charge of it.
All this can be mitigated by running interaction.
I thought you were. I didn't think that's where it was going. I thought you were just saying you were just running right into it. Just play more problematic cards to outdo the other people's problems, and then it just
tie your shirt around the head, and then just go dancing in the street.
Yes, I think that's the best advice anyone could ever give. But that is going to basically going to wrap it up. Those are all the new game changers. We talked about the ones that came off, and obviously said you already alluded to anything that came off the ban list does get added to the game changers list. So now the game changers list has a little bit more bulk to it. The document itself is updated, so there's more instruction. Obviously, the brackets game changers are a small part, or I wouldn't say a small, but just a piece to the bracket puzzle. So much more of it, but it's about play style, intent, and all those things. So if you haven't seen the new bracket article, this point where however many weeks passed when it released. So if you're like us and you're a little behind on things, welcome. Two, we'll throw that maybe in the description so you can check it out. Read the philosophy part is way more important than the game changer part. So read that. It's really well put together, and it'll help kind of figure out where everything's at.
Yeah, we're not late. We just like to get all the information.
See, yes, we're well informed.
All right,
and patient.
Let us know what you think about the game changer list down below. Which game changer additions do you think were just like, huh? And which ones were you like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But let us know in the comments below. We will be in. There's a MagicCon coming up like soon-ish, right? MagicCon Vegas.
Vegas is 6 weeks away from what Ken just told me.
Yeah, we'll be there. But yeah, like and subscribe, and tell an enemy to tell a friend to tell their enemies to subscribe to One More Mana.